All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unravel a case that is just, wow. It's a story where a city garbage dump, a magician, and a hospital morgue are all connected in this single horrifying puzzle. It really proves that sometimes the most terrifying secrets are hiding in the most ordinary places you can imagine. I mean, it sounds like the setup for some kind of bizarre joke, right? But this question, what connects these three things, is actually the heart of a real-life murder investigation. Each one of these is a critical piece of the puzzle. And stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly how they all snap together. So let's start with that first location, the garbage dump. For a group of city sanitation workers, what started as just another Tuesday was about to turn into an absolute nightmare. So they're doing a routine collection, just going through the motions, when they find something that brings everything to a screeching halt. We're talking human limbs just discarded with the trash. You can only imagine. The police were called in immediately. And just like that, a normal workday became a major homicide investigation. Okay, so the first huge clue comes from the forensic report. The key word here was professional. This wasn't some chaotic, frenzied attack, no. This was done with a chilling level of knowledge and precision. And that told investigators something really important. They weren't just looking for any killer. They were looking for someone with a very specific and very disturbing set of skills. But here's the problem. At this point, the victim was still unidentified. So this chilling skill set was pretty much the only lead the police had to go on. And as they started to dig deeper, the investigation took a really bizarre turn. I mean, it went from forensic science straight into the world of magic and motive. It didn't take long for the police to identify the victim. Her name was Faihaa Hamdan. Her husband, Mahmoud, told investigators that Faihaa was pregnant and was just desperate to get a divorce. She felt totally trapped, so she turned to a pretty unconventional source for help, a local sorcerer. And right after that, she started making these, what her husband called, impossible demands, like she was completely convinced this magician could fix everything for her. And this is the guy she went to, a local sorcerer who went by the name Abu Tabla. Now let's be clear, he wasn't some ancient mystic with real powers. He was a straight-up con artist. His whole business was preying on desperate people, mostly women, and using their problems to make a quick buck. Faihaa Hamdan, sadly, had just walked right into his trap. So, okay, this gives the police a potential motive, right? You've got a desperate client and a shady sorcerer. That's a recipe for disaster. But it still didn't solve that big, nagging puzzle from the crime scene. How in the world does a con artist, a guy who deals in fake magic, have the very real, very professional skill needed to dismember a human body? It didn't add up. The pieces still weren't fitting together. To really connect this con man to the crime, the police had to figure out where he got that skill. And the answer? Well, it wasn't hidden in some dusty old spellbook. Turns out it was hiding in plain sight in Abu Tabla's surprisingly mundane past. This was the killer's big secret. And boom, here it is. This is the moment everything changes. Investigators dig into Abu Tabla's work history, and they find one critical detail. Before he was a sorcerer, he was a morgue employee at Al-Mushtahed Hospital. Suddenly, it all clicks into place. That professional skill, that gruesome expertise, it had absolutely nothing to do with magic. He learned it at his old 9-to-5. So now the puzzle is solved, and the police put together a really methodical plan to take them down. Step 1. They put Abu Tabla and his wife, Suad, under constant surveillance. Step 2. They send in an undercover agent who pretends to be a new client. And finally, once they have what they need, they move in. They confront the couple with photos from the investigation and arrest them right then and there for the murder of Faihaa Hamdan. So, the arrests are made, and that part of the investigation is over. But the story's not done. The case now moves to the courtroom for the final verdict. And it's here that the full, horrifying scope of their crimes is about to be laid bare for everyone to see. Both Abu Tabla and his wife, who was known as Tabla, they faced a whole list of absolutely horrifying charges. And it wasn't just premeditated murder and mutilation, which is bad enough. They were also charged for the very scam that brought Faihaa to their door in the first place: sorcery and fraud. It was the court basically saying, we see your entire predatory scheme from beginning to end. The court's verdict was swift and it was final. For their crimes, the fraud, the murder, the mutilation, both Abu Tabla and his wife Suad were sentenced to death by hanging. A really grim end to what has to be one of the most bizarre cases you'll ever hear about. You know, this whole case is such a chilling reminder that the most terrifying skills don't come from some supernatural place. They can be learned in the most mundane, everyday jobs. And it really leaves you with this final, unsettling thought, doesn't it? How often does a totally ordinary past hide an absolutely extraordinary crime? What secrets are hiding behind the routine lives of the people we see every single day?